Hello, my royal lovelies. Welcome back to the channel, and as always, welcome to my home. In today's video, we're going to be talking about the high society wedding of the year, maybe even the decade. Of course, I'm talking about the wedding of Hugh Grosvenor, the 7th Duke of Westminster, to Olivia Henson. My goodness. This video will be going out on Monday. For you guys, but it is the day of the wedding that I am recording it. So all the photos have been out. Prince William's been there. At the second part of this video, I'll also be talking about who now is the most eligible male bachelors in high society. So stay tuned for that. Right, I've got some notes so that I don't miss anything off. So the wedding was held at Chester Cathedral, which is not too far away from the family home of Eaton Hall. Now, Eaton Hall is a massive, sprawling estate, and of course the 7th Duke inherited it from the 6th Duke, his father, when he passed away. I think that was in 2013. So he has been, I suppose, one of the richest men in the country since then, and most certainly the most eligible bachelor under 40 in the entire country. So he is wealthy. We're talking billions. We're talking an estimated £10.4 billion. The Dukedom of Westminster holds vast tracts of land all over the country, but most notably in London, parts of Mayfair, and all these high society places. The land is owned by the Duke of Westminster. So not all dukedoms come with land, as we know from royal dukedoms. The royal dukedoms that come with land are the Duchy of Lancaster, which goes to the sovereign, and the Duchy of Cornwall, which is always held by the heir to the throne. They come with land. They come with an income. So, of course, but it's held in trust for the nation. Anyway, I digress. But a lot of the, I suppose, the aristocracy in general, some of them do still have vast tracts of lands which earn an absolute fortune, and the Duke of Westminster is one of them. So an eligible bachelor he most definitely was. And of course, he caught the eye of Olivia Henson. She's 31, he is 33. And he's also, he's definitely 100% godparent to Prince George, and rumoured to be godparent to Archie. So have royal connections. Obviously, he's younger than William and Harry, but they go back, obviously, all of the family connections and all that kind of thing. So it's definitely the high society and most anticipated wedding of the year. I want to talk about, well, we don't know really what went on inside the cathedral. All of the guests have been sworn to social media secrecy. So if we do see anything coming out, then we probably shouldn't be seeing it coming out. So the reception obviously has already happened and will be happening well into tonight. No details have come out about that, other than they are enjoying, well, the wedding cake is said to be lemon. So that's one little detail that we do have. And they were very generous to the locals. They actually had, I think, lemon Arctic roll made and given to the all the people, well, a lot of the locals who came out to watch and support. So they were thinking about them, which I thought was very, very kind. Let's talk about the dress. So I do believe the dress was Emma Victoria Payne. I think she was the designer of the dress. But I want to talk more about the veil and the embroidery, because there was a very personal touch hidden in there. So if you notice the veil, of course, I'll pop pictures up. The trimming of it, the edging, is actually vintage. It was from her great-great-grandmother's wedding veil. So that must have been unpicked or unstitched and actually hand sewn on to her new veil. So I thought that was really, really, really a lovely detail. We'll talk about the something old, something new, something borrowed, and something blue in a moment as well. But I definitely think that the veil comes into the something old category, but there are lots of other old things going on as well. The dress overall, there was a lot of fabric and it was a very, very windy day. So we had a lot of fabric versus the elements. And, you know, her bridesmaids were struggling to keep down this gown. At one moment, I thought she was about to take off. And, you know, I don't know where she was off to. But no, they managed to hold it all down. And, of course, it went off without a hitch. It was a very simple design, but yet it had like lots of sort of hidden details, you know, all the sort of embroidery and the designs going on. Now, the one thing that I'm not sure about is the blue shoes. I'm not sure who the designer of the shoes are. It could have been part of her something blue on the outfit, but I don't know. I wasn't feeling the blue shoes. I think the blue, when the wind was picking up and she was walking, the blue shoe took me out of the moment. This is just my own personal opinion. Many of you, I'm sure, will love the blue shoe. I wasn't a fan of the blue shoe. I think she should have had some shoes that were in a similar or the same colour as the actual wedding gown, which I think would have been a lot more, it would have kept it flowing a little bit better, I think. Anyway, that's just my own personal opinion. That's just one change that I would have made. So tell me in the comments, did you like the blue shoe? Did you not like the blue shoe? What would you have done? But yes, I definitely think that could have been her something blue. I mean, I know a lot of brides maybe have a little blue garter going on. Now, we don't know if she had a blue garter. I'm not starting rumours here. But another thing that she was wearing that could fall into the borrowed and old category is that magnificent tiara. So this is one that I haven't been familiar with, although I'm sure I've seen it in photos previously, but I didn't really know much about it because I know more about the royal tiaras. But this is a Fabergé tiara. Yes, Fabergé, as in the eggs. That Fabergé. I didn't know that they made tiaras. Anyway, a Fabergé myrtle leaf tiara. Now, this is worn by Duke of Westminster or Westminster lady brides throughout, well, since 1908, I think it was created, that tiara. Yes, 1906. It was 1906. So, in terms of tiara age, it's not of great age, but it is still definitely classed as a vintage piece. I love the design. I'm sure perhaps some of the myrtle motifs could be detached and maybe worn as a brooch. I am just putting that out there. I don't know if that is true. But a lot of these tiaras can be worn as necklaces, or bits can be detached and worn as brooches. So I imagine that it is a versatile piece. And her bouquet, the flowers from the bouquet were taken from the Westminster family home of Eaton Hall. So that was a really nice kind of homely touch to have. So we've had something borrowed, the tiara, something old, obviously the veil details and the tiara itself, something blue, I think the shoes, and something new. Well, it could be the dress itself, perhaps. But anyway, I liked her hair. It was just elegant and sort of timeless. I mean, this is the sort of dress that is not going to date. You know, is it my favourite wedding dress of all time? No. But then I'm not a particularly big fan of wedding dresses anyway, to be quite honest. I think it's very difficult to get a wedding dress right. You know, and to have you wear the dress and not the dress wear you. I think Olivia got it right with this dress. I definitely think she was wearing the dress, although in those moments of wind, it did often seem like the dress was trying to consume her. But no, I liked the dress. Like I say, I don't think everyone suits wedding dresses, to be quite honest. And it's almost this expectation that a bride has to wear a wedding dress at a wedding, and I don't know, I've never really been of that opinion. If you don't suit wedding dresses, and some people don't, some people do not suit wedding dresses, then don't wear one, wear something else. I'm also quite a fan of coloured wedding dresses as well, you know, reds. I mean, the traditional English English wedding dress colour is actually red. Did you know it was actually Queen Victoria that sort of perpetuated this white wedding dress fantasy that we now, well, everyone almost adheres to. But actually, a dress with a colour was popular prior to that, and red was one of the popular colours. So let me know your thoughts about wedding dresses in general. But I did like Olivia's dress. She did look really stunning and gorgeous. Now, royals at the wedding, there wasn't as many as I thought was going to turn up. So we had Prince William, the Prince of Wales. He was an usher, so he had a job to do. He was showing people to the seats. Obviously, we didn't get a chance to see that because that happened in private in the cathedral walls. If only those walls could talk. Catherine did not attend. No surprise. I mean, I'm still getting people, in comments perpetuating all of these conspiracies, these Kate-spiracies going on. Where is she? Where is she? We know where she is, my loves. Calm down. She's at home. She's recovering from cancer, or going through the treatment, and then she'll be recovering from the treatment. We know where she is. There is no conspiracy, my goodness. And she obviously wasn't feeling up to it or well enough to attend today. Maybe she didn't want to be a spectacle. Maybe she didn't want to overshadow the wedding with her presence. My goodness. So zip it, you horrible lot. I'm not talking about all of you. The few, the minority that try and spoil it for everyone else. Catherine is okay. She's doing fine. She's at home recovering. She's going through her treatment. That's all we need to know. Princess Eugenie. She looked gorgeous. I loved that kind of muted sort of sage green. I thought it was a lovely colour to wear at a wedding. It wasn't bright. It wasn't ostentatious. We weren't seeing, really controversial millinery going on. It was all very classy, all very refined. I really liked her look. No Princess Beatrice. And of course, no Harry and Meghan. So there's been lots in the media about Harry and Meghan. Were they invited? Were they not invited? I'm not interested in all that nonsense. The one thing that we do know is Harry and Meghan were not there. So regardless of the whys and what fors of whether or not it was to save embarrassment or whatever, or to overshadow, he wasn't there, and William was. In terms of the male fashion, I mean, the males were mostly in morning suits. Prince William was wearing one too, so not much particularly going on there. He looked smart, he looked fresh, he looked happy, which I think is a good sign in terms of Catherine. So we didn't see a lot of this, William does carry sometimes some of the strain on his face. You can often tell when he's not quite right. And I did comment round about the time, just before we found out about Catherine having cancer. When he was doing those investitures, he was rocking back and forth. He looked tired. He didn't look well. He wears his emotions, I think you can tell, on his face. But he looked happy, content today. Today. You're seeing it on Monday. Today, he looked very, very, very happy and content and well, which I think could be a reflection of that things are calm behind the scenes. So I think we can take that as a very positive sign. The wedding car was a 1930s 8-litre Bentley. It did look gorgeous. Now, I'm not sure whether I would have preferred a horse and carriage. Maybe that's just me living out my Cinderella fantasy. But the car was gorgeous. It wasn't a sort of a white wedding car. It was dark of colour. I think it was a black. And it was nice, it was classy, it was refined. It does belong to the Westminsters as part of the estate. So keeping it in the family is most definitely the order of the day. I wish the happy couple a very happy life together. I wonder where they're going on honeymoon. I bet it's somewhere tropical. Maybe the Maldives. I'd love to go to the Maldives. Or it could be the Seychelles. Maybe Richard Branson's invited them to his private island of Necker. Maybe, I don't know. I don't know where they're going, but I bet it's somewhere lovely, and I bet it's somewhere very expensive. I mean, she has married, and also titles. She's now the Duchess of Westminster. So Hugh's mother is still alive. Obviously, his father passed away. So she became a Dowager Duchess. So she is the Dowager Duchess of Westminster. So you can have two Duchesses of the same title. You can have one as the Dowager and you can have one as the current incumbent. So out of courtesy, Olivia is now styled as the Duchess of Westminster because Hugh is the Duke of Westminster. And look at all the wealth she's got. I don't want to harp on about it, but she can have whatever she wants now. But she is a lady of her own means, rather modest. She does have a job, and I do believe that she intends to stick with the job. However, one thing I will say is, with the best of intentions, I'm sure she will, want to keep things as normal as possible post-married life. Maybe they'll be considering children in due course. But I will say that if they're obviously moving into, or rather, they will be having their main home as Eton Hall, it does take a lot of running. And although, they don't need to worry about money, and they certainly don't need to open the house to the public. I'm not sure if it is open for so many days, but, they can afford to have it as a private home and not have people tramping through. However, running an estate is a big job, and, a lot of people do find that, they carry on with their jobs, but then they sort of give up their jobs because running an estate is a full-time job. They will have staff to do that. I'm sure they'll have land managers or estate managers and all the rest of it. But, she may wish in the future to get involved in the actual running of the estate, which wouldn't necessarily be a bad thing. I would love to do that. If I married into money someone that had an estate, then, I would be, you would see me on YouTube, but, I would be there running the estate. I think I'd be quite good and adept at it. So what we're going to talk about now is who are the most eligible bachelors in the country now that the richest and most wealthiest one is off the market. Right, of course, I am going to put pictures on the screen, but I've got the list in front of me now. So, some of these men I've been aware of, some of them I most definitely have not. Where have I been? I've been living under a rock. Ladies, gentlemen, make sure you're sitting comfortably because some of these are rather dishy. Oh my goodness. So, by the way, I am engaged, if you didn't know, so I'm not looking for a husband. But if I was, this is my opinion of the most eligible bachelors. So, who do we have here? First up on the list is Louis Spencer, Viscount Althorp. So obviously Diana's nephew. So keeping it sort of with those royal connections. Now he's quite dishy. So he's 30 years old. And I didn't realise he's quite dashing, quite handsome, looks really good and presentable in a suit. A little bit young for me. But anyway, he's rather handsome, I think. There he is photographed with Prince Harry, I think in happier times. But no, he's rather dashing. I can definitely see the Spencer traits coming in. I do like a guy with a beard. So, he's sort of ticking those boxes. I like the kind of posh boy sort of wavy hair. It's sort of slightly messy. Looks like it could perhaps do with a little bit of a comb through it. But no, he looks quite handsome. And obviously, he's going to be potentially worth inherit £100 million. That would most definitely do. So yes, he is most definitely eligible. And I'm sure whoever bags him is a very, very lucky person. Next up on the list, we have Charles Manners, the Marquis of Granby. Now, I've never heard of him, and I've never heard of that title before either. But anyway, so Charles Manners was once dubbed one of the world's most eligible bachelors by Tatler magazine. He studied business management at Newcastle University. And of course, he will eventually inherit the title of Duke of Rutland from his father and the Grade 2 listed Belvoir Castle in Leicestershire. So whoever bags him is going to actually reside in a castle. Okay, he's 24. That's definitely too young. Definitely too young for me, but I'm sure there are some lovely ladies, maybe on the debutante circle, if we had debutantes these days, who I'm sure would be very happy to be meeting him. I mean, just think about that. Oh my goodness, Cassius, 46th in line to the British throne. Who is he? I mean, just look at all that chest hair. My goodness, you could almost strike a match on it, couldn't you? Now, he looks a little bit rough and ready, doesn't he? Who's this one? So apparently, oh, I have heard of him before. Wasn't he a bit of a rogue at one point? Perhaps. So he is son of Lady Helen Taylor and Timothy Taylor. So apparently, with his edgy exterior and streetwear-inspired style, Cassius isn't a typical royal. The 45th in line to the throne, Cassius Taylor, has had a little more freedom than some of his relatives. He's 27 years old and is the grandson of Prince Edward, the Duke of Kent, the late Queen's first cousin. There we go. Apparently, he's a party DJ as well. My goodness, maybe he walks around all the time bare-chested. My goodness. Next we have Pete Zernin, Baron Harold de Walden. Now he's a little bit older, probably more my age range to be quite honest. So who's he and how much money's he got? That's what we want. I mean, all of these men would be able to keep me in real tiaras for decades, wouldn't they, my loves? I'm sure I'd bankrupt a billionaire. Anyway, he is Count Pete. Ooh, I could be a countess. Count Pete, otherwise known as the Honourable Pete Zernin, is an Oscar-winning British film producer, no less. He's already been divorced from a wife of 26 years. Oh, he is a wealthy one. In 2012, his family's net worth was said to stand at £2.4 billion. Wow, and Pete benefited from a payout of his family's sprawling London estate, according to the Telegraph. Well, these men are wealthy, they're single, they're eligible. My goodness. Anyway, I am sticking with my fiancé because I love him very much. So he doesn't come with an estate or tiaras, but anyway, I will buy my own. I don't need no man to buy me any tiaras. Thank you for watching this video. If you've enjoyed it, then please give it a big old thumbs up. Don't forget to share on social media. And of course, do hit the bell so that you know whenever I upload a new video. So from me, mwah, to you all, and goodbye.